Falcons fans, I need you to listen to me very closely right now because I saw something on social media this morning that absolutely boiled my blood. I was scrolling through the timeline after the win against the Cardinals, and I saw a tweet that said, "The Falcons winning meaningless games in December just proves that nothing ever changes with this franchise." That is lazy analysis. That is looking at the box score without watching the tape. Because if you actually sat down and watched what happened in Arizona, you would know that while the standings might say these games don't matter, the tape says something completely different. We aren't just watching garbage time football. We are watching the auditions for the 2026 roster. We are watching the future core of this team emerge in real time. And if you look closely, the Falcons just hit a trifecta of good news that could completely alter the trajectory of next season. But before we dive into the 3 specific players who are changing their entire destiny right now, I have one favor to ask. If you love this team and you want daily, passionate, no-nonsense coverage that digs deeper than the national media, do me a huge solid, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a beat. Now, let's talk about this trifecta. When a team is mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, usually you see guys check out. You see business decisions being made on the field. Tackles get softer, routes get lazier. But we are seeing the exact opposite from 3 specific players who are fighting for their lives, and frankly, they are winning that fight. Let's start with the biggest surprise of the last month, Kobe Bryant. I'll be honest with you, when Kobe stepped into the lineup, I wasn't sure what to expect. We know the history. We know he's a young guy trying to find his footing. But Kobe Bryant has shown me flashes in these last 5 games that tell me he isn't just a depth piece. He might be a legitimate starter in this league. Now, I know some of the box score scouts are going to yell at me. They'll look at the stats and say, "But wait, he's allowing a passer rating of 99.7. He's giving up 15 yards per catch. His missed tackle rate is hovering around 20%. And yes, those numbers are real. There are moments where he looks like a young player figuring it out. But you have to look deeper. You have to look at the context. Take that touchdown pass to Michael Wilson in the Cardinals game. If you just look at the play-by-play log, it says, "Touchdown, Arizona." But if you watch the rep, Kobe Bryant was blanketed on him. I mean, you literally cannot draw up better coverage. He was in the receiver's hip pocket. He contested the catch point. It was just a perfect throw from Jacoby Brissett and an even better catch by Wilson. Sometimes the offense just wins. That doesn't mean the coverage was bad, it means the luck was bad. In fact, if you look at his physicality, the way he closes on routes, and the way he attacks the football, like that undercut on Mike Evans a few weeks ago, you see the traits of a starting CB2. And here is the reality we have to face for 2026. Mike Hughes has been solid, but he is getting older. He has a ceiling. Kobe Bryant brings youth, spryness, and a level of aggression that this secondary desperately needs. I think Kobe has done enough to not just make the 53-man roster next year, but to enter training camp as the favorite to start opposite A.J. Terrell. So, let me ask you this early question. Based on what you've seen in these last 5 games, would you be comfortable going into 2026 with Kobe Bryant as your starting CB2? Now let's move to the second part of this trifecta, and this is a guy who I feel like we have been sleeping on way too much, Brandon Dorlus. I know. Everyone wants to talk about the flashy rookies. Everyone wants to talk about James Pierce Jr. or Jalen Walker, and rightfully so, those guys are studs. But Brandon Dorlus has quietly become the clean-up crew of this defense, and I mean that as the highest possible compliment. Here is a fascinating stat for you. Brandon Dorlus has racked up 8 sacks this season. That is a massive number for an interior defensive lineman. But here is the weird part, his pressure rate is only 7.7%. For context, a guy like Jeffrey Simmons, who is an absolute monster for the Titans, has 9 sacks but a pressure rate of almost 15%. So, what does this tell us? It tells us that while Dorlus might not be winning every single one-on-one rep instantly, he is arguably the best finisher on the team. When James Pierce Jr. wrecks the pocket from the edge and flushes the quarterback out, Dorlus is the one there to wrap him up. When the pocket collapses, Dorlus is the one collecting the check. For years, the Falcons had guys who could get close to the quarterback but couldn't finish. Remember the Vic Beasley years? Remember the frustration of watching quarterbacks slip away at the last second? Brandon Dorlus doesn't let them slip away. He is the closer. When you look at the young core of this defense, Walker, Pierce, Dorlus, Rook or Hororo, you are looking at a group that can grow together for the next 5 years. Dorlus has proven he belongs in that core. I want to see that pressure rate go up next year, absolutely. I want to see him winning more isolation reps. But you cannot teach the instinct to finish plays, and Dorlus has that in spades. Here is the question of the day. For the comments section, who has been the single most impressive young defender for you this season? Is it Dorlus, is it Pierce Jr., or is it someone else? Drop a name in the comments right now. Finally, we have to talk about the enigma. The man, the myth, the most polarizing player in Falcons history, Kyle Pitts. If you had asked me 5 weeks ago about Kyle Pitts, I would have told you he was gone. I would have told you to prepare for the press release announcing he was leaving in free agency. I thought the experiment was over. But something has clicked. And I think I finally figured out the code. In the last 4 games, Kyle Pitts has been playing like a man possessed. We are talking about 31 receptions. That is almost 8 catches a game. 4 touchdowns. Almost 100 yards per game. He just set the franchise record for the most receiving yards by a tight end in a 4-game span. These aren't just good numbers, these are first-team All-Pro numbers. So, what changed? It's simple. It's Kirk Cousins. It has become undeniably clear that Kyle Pitts and Kirk Cousins share a brain. The chemistry they have developed down the stretch is undeniable. And I truly believe their fates are now tied together. I have a theory. If the Falcons decide to keep Kirk Cousins for the 2026 season, Kyle Pitts stays. If they decide to move on to Michael Penix Jr., Kyle Pitts probably walks. Why? Because we saw what happened earlier in the year when the offense wasn't flowing through Kirk in this specific way. Pitts looked lost. Now, with a veteran quarterback who trusts him to win 50-50 balls, Pitts looks like the unicorn we drafted 4th overall. It leaves the front office with a massive decision. Do you franchise tag Pitts? Do you sign him to a short-term deal to align with Kirk's timeline? Because the Kyle Pitts I saw against the Cardinals, the one who was snatching balls out of the air and running over defenders, is a weapon you cannot easily replace. If you let him walk, you are creating a massive hole in your offense just as you try to compete next year. So, to recap the trifecta of good news, Kobe Bryant looks like a legitimate, cheap, young starter at corner. Brandon Dorlus has emerged as an elite finisher on the defensive line. Kyle Pitts has finally realized his potential, giving the Falcons a dominant weapon if they choose to pay him. These meaningless games? They aren't meaningless. They are showing us the blueprint for how this team returns to the playoffs in 2026. The talent is there. The young core is rising. And for the first time in a long time, I feel good about the depth of this roster. Let me know what you think about these 3 players. Are you buying stock in them for next year? That is all I have for you today on this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, rise up and stay cool.